All right, thanks, Maury. And new tonight, an environmental review for a proposed data center in Faribault was illegal. That is the ruling from a state appeals court, which means the city must revise its review to make it more complete.
It is just the latest development in several fights statewide over data centers. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni explains why there is so much debate.
Data centers, as you might have guessed, store massive amounts of data. Tech companies need them to make things like AI work. They also power websites and allow you to store documents and photos in the cloud. Now, they range in size from small office spaces to those large warehouse-style complexes that you've probably seen on the news. As for the benefits, proponents will tell you they bring jobs and investment to an area. They'll also point out the extra tax revenue that cities get from them. But critics will say they also drain resources like water and electricity. One environmental group, which has sued over data centers, says even if just half of the 20 proposed hyperscale data centers were built, they'd use as much energy as the entire state of Minnesota. Now, as for consumption, that group also claims that a Meta-backed center in Farmington would double the city's water usage. In the studio, Mike Manzoni, Fox 9.
It marks 1 year since an unprecedented tragedy in our state and in our nation's history. This is a story that about Peggy Flanagan and AI coming into ads. We are going to have this story in just a little bit, but we need to move on to a different story first while we get that one prepared. This week, as you may know, marks 1 year since an unprecedented tragedy in our state and in our nation's history. In the early morning hours of June 14th, Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were shot and killed in their Brooklyn Park home. The same night, Democratic Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were shot and injured in their Champlin home. Those shootings carried out by a man who was impersonating a police officer who took off after encountering real police. This led to the largest manhunt in Minnesota history, with Vance Belter eventually captured and charged at the state and federal level. And ahead of Sunday's somber anniversary, we sat down with one of the key investigators on the case, Brooklyn Park Police Chief Mark Bruley.
And he told us it was so unimaginably devastating and complex that there was no playbook for police to really go off of.
This is an individual that had a well-thought-out plan to kill hundreds of individuals that day. The fact that he was stopped really, really early on his attack is incredible. And yet completely tragic for how much damage that he did in our communities and to people that we loved.
Well, following the shootings, Melissa Hortman became the first woman to lie in state at Minnesota's Capitol alongside her husband. Thousands of citizens and leaders paid their respects, including former President Joe Biden. The couple's two children have since spoken out against political violence on the state and national level. They also helped pass legislation that requires insurance companies to pay for damage caused by officers' executions of search warrants. And Senator John Hoffman has returned to work after he was shot 9 times and has been learning how to walk again. His wife Yvette has also recovered after being shot 8 times. The couple credits their daughter Hope with calling 911 and saving their lives. Senator Hoffman has since authored a bill that makes it a felony instead of a misdemeanor to impersonate a police officer in Minnesota. And the shootings also led to security improvements at the state capitol, including restricting public entrances, hiring more officers as well, and also upgrading surveillance cameras. And you can find all of our coverage on the Hortmans and the Hoffmans, including our full interview with Chief Bruley, on the Fox Local app.